Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And you know what I should be doing right now? There's something that I should be doing right now that I'm not doing. You know what it is? I should be answering your questions. But you have failed me. You have. Although one of you did not. Now, you didn't send me any questions for the Ask Me Anything. But on Monday, and I wasn't expecting an email to this, but on Monday I did mention, if you love or if you like hearing me rant about weird random things, send an email to I like hearing you rant about weird random things at fppradio.com. And you know what? Somebody did. And I thank you. I thank you very much. Now, apologies on, I don't think I actually responded to the email because I still have it as unread. Like, I saw the preview and I read the email, but I'm horrible about certain emails that I want to, make sure, make sure you reference this on the show. I don't respond to so that it still shows up as unread because the way my email sorts, I have the unread messages above the read messages. So while I believe I forgot to send you a response and a thank you, I do thank you. I thank you very much. Now, if you've listened to the show for a while, you know that I have mentioned how I overthink. And sometimes I overthink about whether or not I'm overthinking. Well, I've stumbled across some articles about overthinking. And, well, I think I don't overthink on this, but I think that they are very interesting. And so, well, you know what? Since this is about me helping myself as much as it is about you helping yourself and me helping you help yourself, I'm going to delve into this topic that, I don't want to overthink about overthinking. And the article says we're all victims of overthinking, but I don't believe so. I don't think that everybody overthinks. I think it's only a small portion. It might be, a sizable, but it's definitely not all, or at least I don't think it is. I would love to see some sort of study or statistic to back this up, but I don't believe that it's everybody. But I digress and continue. The author, Jenny Marshall, says, we're all victims of overthinking. For some of us, it can be a fleeting thought, but for many, it can cause real damage in our perception of ourselves, our perception of others, and our perception of the world around us. Overthinking is an epidemic stemming from our tendency to compare ourselves to others, feeling inadequate and focusing too much on negative aspects of situations. In essence, it's our judgmental thought patterns that create this world in our mind, a world of low self-worth and disconnect with our true self. As humans, we're capable of deep, critical thinking about many subjects. If our mental health isn't always healthy, we tend to judge ourselves and the relationships we have with everything. This causes us to hone in on a narrow idea of who we are. We're too fat, we're too old, too unsuccessful, not assertive enough, not passionate enough, and the worst of all, not good enough. For example, if you have feelings of self-doubt about your ability to be successful, then this seed of thought can affect all areas of your life, such as careers, goals, dreams, relationships, and even friendships. Overthinking about the lack of success and your ability to achieve it leads to more self-judgment. When opportunities arise in life, like the perfect job interview or the perfect love, you end up sabotaging your potential through the act of overthinking your low worth and inability to succeed. Now, I'm going to pause here to ask the rhetorical question of, does it hurt yet? Because I know that, this is one of those things where, even though I'm reading this and, I'm taking it in and it's really kind of, hitting me right where it needs to. And I really think that, this is one of those episodes that it is more for me than it is for anybody else. But I still hope that you enjoy it. And I've explained before the reason I do the type of show that I do. And yes, I know it started off as a fairly political, very political show and has changed over the years. We're at, episode 431 right now. And I think that if the show were the exact same right now as it was 430 episodes ago, then, something wasn't done right. Because, you should not be in the same place you were 430 episodes ago. And I realize I'm using the word episode here as a metaphor. It could be 431 days. You could think of a day as an episode of your life. You could think of, going to work as an episode of something. But, whatever it is, the 431st version of whatever should not be the exact same as the first version. Because if it is, then, there's no progress. And if there's no progress, then you're stagnating. And if you're stagnating, then you might as well be going backwards. At least when you're going backwards, you're moving. Might not be in the right direction, but at least there's movement. Let me finish this section of the article real quick before I get too far off track. They say, in essence, it can be a vicious cycle where overthinking leads to self-criticizing, which in turn leads to more overthinking. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to ZOG.Ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, ZOG.Ninja, code FPP.
This is Jeremy Scott, host of Dark 30. You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Now, here's something you don't have to think or overthink about, and that is where to get some precious metals, specifically gold and silver. Since 1977, people have been going to Roberts & Roberts Brokerage for not only buying, but also selling. So say you've got some gold or some silver that you're looking to liquidate for some reason. Call up Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. You want to get your hands on some gold and silver, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. They take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Meaning, You want to turn some of your Bitcoin into gold or silver? Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. And matter of fact, you know what? Just pause the show. Well, wait until I give you the telephone number, and then pause the podcast, and then make that telephone call. 800-874-9760. That's 800-874-9760. Or maybe you're a little anxious and you don't like talking on the phone. Well, they can help you out there as well. Go to rrbi.co. rrbi.co. Back to the article from lifehack.org explaining how people that overthink tend to judge themselves too much. And again, it's a vicious cycle where overthinking leads to self-criticizing, which in turn leads to more overthinking. To stop judging ourselves, we need to stop judging others. Now, you might be thinking, or overthinking, I don't judge other people, I only judge myself. I look at every decision I've made and think of all the reasons that it was the wrong decision, and then I, do this alternate history hub thing in my head of if I would have done this instead of this, then how would everything be different, and how can I basically make amends to myself? How can I apologize to myself for having screwed everything up? Now, you might be thinking, I'm only judging myself. I'm not judging other people. But if you're comparing yourself to other people, which is what a lot of people that overthink wind up doing, then you are, in point of fact, judging other people. You're not necessarily judging them in a negative light. However, the article says judging others is just the start. If we have the ability to judge others based on our preconceived ideas and prejudices, then we have the ability to judge ourselves, but with much harsher consequences. This inevitably leads to the overthinking we're so familiar with. And I forget who said it, but I've heard it numerous times from a bunch of different people. They say that, you look at everybody else's highlight reel and you compare that to your worst day of practice. And what exactly does that mean? Because I realize not everybody listening is a fan of the sports. And I know that some of you are so not fans of sports that you refer to any kind of athletic thing as sports ball. And you think that somehow, it makes you morally superior, that you just call everything sports ball because people are entertained in a different way than you are. But what I mean by, you're looking at everybody else's highlight reel while comparing your worst day of practice, let's look at it another way. I realize that a lot of you watch movies. You're looking at everybody else's finished, polished product that won all kinds of Oscars and Grammys and, whatever other award there is. And you're comparing that Oscar-winning movie that somebody else, the very polished product to the stuff that you have laying on your cutting room floor. I do it as well, so I'm not criticizing you. Because, again, this is something that I do myself. And again, as I said earlier in the show, this is as much for me as it is for you. This is my version of therapy because I can't afford, like $75 an hour to go talk to a therapist. Not that I really want to, because I've seen what, certain therapists do. They're like, oh, well, you said that you think government's bad, and so that means you've got anti-authoritative disorder. We need to put you on all these drugs that make you not want to use your brain, and then we're just going to lock you up. I've seen it happen. I used to work security at a hospital in Pennsylvania a little over a decade ago. And I overheard the psychiatrist talking to patients that were in there for various things, and there were times, oh, well, it sounds like you've got anti-authority something. So, yeah, I don't want to go see a therapist because, they're going to say that I'm all kinds of crazy. Although I did go see a shrink one time, and I think I've talked about this before, where I had just moved from Pennsylvania back to Alabama and was working security in Pennsylvania. Figured, I'll stay in the same sort of field here. Went in for an interview, got the interview, went through orientation, and they said, all right, before you finish, everybody's got to take a 587-question psychological profile. And you will either get a passing grade or you will get a letter that says you have to go see a psychiatrist. And I wound up being one of the people that got the letter that said you had to go see a psychiatrist. Walk in, psychiatrist says, why are you here? I said, because I'm crazy. And her response, I'm not kidding, her response was, no, you're not. Crazy people don't admit it. So chew on that for just a bit, and I will get back into the article. Training ourselves not to judge others is the first step. And then they have a picture of two people. They say, look at these two people. What judgmental thoughts arise when you look at them? And, well, one of them is a very attractive, slender young lady, blonde hair, wearing a sundress. And I love the way women look in a sundress. The other is someone who is overweight, wearing a pair of shorts that are probably a little too tight. I'll continue. Stay tuned to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. We're talking about overthinking and how overthinking is actually, well, it's a form of judgment. You're judging yourself and you're judging other people. You're just judging yourself more critically than you judge other people. And again, the article has a couple pictures here, and it says, look at these two people. What judgmental thoughts arise when you look at them? And again, very attractive, slender, dirty blonde female wearing, sort of a sundress sort of thing, flip-flops. And as I said, I love the way women look in sundresses. The other photo is from behind of someone a little overweight, wearing, again, a pair of shorts that appear to be a little too tight. And they ask the question, is the well-dressed slim person successful, but the overweight person lazy or unsuccessful? Neither are necessarily true. It can be shocking what assumptions we make based on first perceptions, but it's that these are the basis of our own self-judgment. And I would say that I never thought about whether or not one person was successful based on the photo. Success did not pop into my mind at all. The article continues. The art of taking in the whole view rather than making a stern, often wrong decision on something is often practiced by Buddhists. Meditation teaches us not to judge our thoughts, but to note them and let them go on their merry way. Just observing a simple object can help identify our way of making judgments. And then there are photos of strawberries. It says, try with a strawberry. What conclusions do you get from looking at it? Ask yourself why you make these assumptions. And looking at the strawberries, I'm not making any kind of assumptions other than, those are strawberries. Move on to people. Watch people when you're out and about. See what assumptions you make about them and their lives. Why do you have those views? Finally, try this on the judgments you make on yourself and question whether your perceptions are really just illusions that you create. By doing this, you can start to lessen your tendency to overthink. Once negative thoughts about yourself start to build up, you're in a better position to notice and understand them. But more importantly, you're in a better position to stop them in their tracks. So don't beat yourself up for judging yourself. Realize that your perceptions can be based on a false view and assumption. Having the right mindset is the key to creating happiness in yourself, free of unnecessary worry and overthinking, and build a space of non-judgment. So give yourself a break. And again, I'm going to say it again. You're judging, and I'm guessing that you're in this boat. If you're not, then fine. I'm not talking to you specifically, but the people that judge others, especially those who are more critical on themselves than other people, they're judging that finished product from the other person, that highlight reel, versus things that they have laying on the cutting room floor. That deleted scene that you don't want anybody to know about, that's the thing that you're comparing to somebody else's finished, polished product that wound up winning some kind of award for being, like the best produced thing ever. So stop doing it. And I realize it's not as easy as just stop. But, well, what should you do? And, well, there's another article that I have about overthinking. And I'm going to skip the first paragraph here and jump into the second. They say, after reading this, you will understand more about what worry is and find ways to drive out the worries and regain control of your life. Because they're saying if you overthink, then you tend to worry a lot. Worries can be in different forms, but one commonality of them is that all worries carry uncertainty. What makes us really worried is the intangible, uncertain feeling. In fact, this is proved by scientists. Scientists tell us that our brain needs instant feedback in order to judge the situation and then decide on an action. If we are devoid of feedback and uncertainty, we are living in a delayed return environment. And as a result, all the negative emotions pop up. To eliminate worry, the first thing you can do is focus on the small wins every day. Now, for some people, and I'm pausing here from the article to go off on a tangent a little bit. For some people, just getting out of bed is a victory. And that's fine. That is perfectly fine. If that is a win for you, celebrate it. If taking a shower is a win for you, celebrate it. If, reading 100 pages in a book is something that is a win for you, good. Celebrate. Whatever it is that is a victory for you, depending on, circumstances in your life. And I understand that people deal with depression. And when you're depressed, sometimes it can be a struggle just to get out of bed. And that's fine. If you get out of bed, celebrate getting out of bed. Find a victory every day. Stay tuned. There's more.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Continuing with ways to overcome worry that can cause overthinking. Make the small victories count. Find one every day. If the lack of feedback causes us worry, then providing the feedback our brain needs can already flip over the situation. When our brain receives the feedback, the uncertainty becomes less uncertain, and the anxiety is lessened. Better still, if we focus on the positive feedback every day, we do not only eliminate the uncertainty, but we also create motivation and happiness for ourselves. Shift your focus. Another way to eliminate worry is to shift your focus from the long-term problems to your daily routine. Focusing on long-term problems like the fear of breaking up or the fear of death is only causing more uncertainties, more unnecessary uncertainties. After all, no one can really predict the future. Instead, shift the focus on the more tangible problems in your daily routine, like cooking dinner, watering the plants, getting out of bed, taking a shower. Small victories. Find them daily. By solving these minor problems, you minimize the uncertainty and gain a small taste of success, giving the encouragement you need to carry on your life. Most people, they say, do worry, but just take it easy. While you're still troubled by worries, remember you own the control of your life. You have the power to get rid of worries and have a more carefree life. As always, the links to these articles will be in the show notes. You can read them at your leisure if you so choose. If you don't want to read them, hey, that's fine. That's fine. But there are times that, I don't necessarily always like to read. That's why I prefer a book on tape. And speaking of books on tape, I am almost done with book 5 of Game of Thrones, which means that I'll be looking for new reading material. If you specifically audio books to listen to, but you know what I mean. If you have suggestions, send those over to booksuggestions@fppradio.com, and I might wind up reading some of your suggestions on the air. And don't forget, every Friday, I answer your questions when you send them to me. So send those over, ama@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.